And after this, the president cut short for the construction and upgrading of a bitumen surfacing of a total road network of some 200 kilometers. And these also included the Teluku Bokazo Salman Anebo Junction Road and the 38.16 kilometer Sandazo Eduazo Kwesikrom Pistia Nkwanta Road. Meanwhile, former President John Mahama has described Ghana's economy as being in the worst ever state. He told the Deba during his ongoing tour of the Volta region, the economy of the country is in the intensive care unit, adding that Ghana could experience the worst fiscal deficit this fiscal year.
In one, they say that the financial deficit is below 5%. In the other, the financial deficit is about 7%. But probably we will end this year with the worst fiscal deficit we've ever had in the history of Ghana. It is possible that we'll end this year with a fiscal deficit of almost 15% of GDP. And that is because we have had poor managers of the economy. Government or governance or management of a country is based on planning and common sense. There are certain decisions you take that will be inimical to the growth and prosperity of your economy. I mean, if Ghana were your country, your company, would you run it like that?
This is purely under this current government.
Now let's take you to Kumasi. And Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana is warning of mass examination failures in the current end of term examinations being undertaken in schools due to little contact hours for students in colleges of education. Now, the group also wants Ghana Education Service and other relevant stakeholders to review the current examinations timetable issued for the colleges end of year period. They want the number of contact hours students will have on campus increase for them to adequately prepare them for these examinations.
Have been learning on virtual platforms are to return to their various colleges and prepare for 1 week before sitting the end-of-year exams. President of the association, Augustine Appiah, explains the 1 week given to students for revision will not be enough for them to prepare adequately after staying home for 6 months. Last year, more than 450 students were expelled from their colleges after they failed to meet minimum credit hours required. Mr. Appiah fears the situation might worsen this year.
But here the case, when you go to the mainstream universities, UCC, they have been given 2 weeks for a mop-up. And then when you come to college, they have given us only 1 week for 8 course mop-up, which it will surely affect us. Last year, there was a mass failure. About 450 students were withdrawn due to their inability to hit the target of the credit hours. This time around, because of the pandemic and we are not in the normal time, somebody will be in the village and will not be able to access the platform. So it's time for us to come back to college. I quite remember the last time I had an interview, I made it clear that when school resumes, there should be a time frame. At least there should be 3 weeks for revision on campus and then 2 weeks for examination, so that they will be able to mop up and then write and pass well. We are not saying that students did not learn when they were in the house, but other aspects like mathematics, how can you assess mathematics on platform, drawings and other stuff?
Meanwhile, the Ashanti, Bono and a half of sectors of the Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana organized a writing challenge for students whilst they stayed home. Dubbed the Ashba Writing Challenge 2020, it was meant to shaping the students' communication skills. Out of the 139 participants from various training colleges in Ashanti, Bono and a half regions, 3 students emerged winners.
What an award to me. I really love it. I'll make a special place for this plaque on my study table. Kiss with pride and turn it to wonderful ways. I am grateful to everyone for coming.
Other sectors were encouraged to initiate activities that will unlock students' potentials to ensure self and national development.
I'm also, in a way, throwing a challenge to my other sector presidents, not to, in a way, emulate us, but they should also come with ideas or programs like this so that it will also ginger, or it will also bring out the good things out of people, the trainees or the people that we are serving. I always believe in unlocking youth potentials through innovation. So I think that this is the best opportunity, and doing so, we have at least seen some of the writers in the agri sector.
Nana Asensumenses reports.
Also have to remain in the Ashanti region because the people of Inshaiso in the Asante Akim North District are heaving a sigh of relief as MTN Ghana Foundation prepares to change their plight with the handing over of a 6-unit classroom block and a teacher's bungalow. The project follows a JoyNews agenda report which highlighted the poor and life-threatening conditions in one of the public schools in the town. Kwame Ntow, whose report caught the attention of MTN Ghana Foundation, has more in the following report.
Teachers in the Inshaiso DA Basic School became a death trap. Cracked walls, loose door frames, fallen ceiling and classrooms filled with foul-smelling animal droppings were the lot of students. Despite the danger posed by the dilapidated school structures, education authorities were reluctant to close it down. Children from Inshaiso until now were compelled to trek 32 kilometers to and from the nearest town, Ananikrum, to attend JHS. Some of the girls were sexually assaulted by nomadic herdsmen en route to school.
Let's begin with JoyNews agenda this week, and we are focusing on dilapidated school structure across the country. Now, basic schools in the Asante Akim North District of the Ashanti region conduct classes in dilapidated and life-threatening structures.
Following a JoyNews agenda report highlighting the plight of the students, MTN Ghana Foundation intervened.
We have very good news for the people of Inshaiso near Agogo. MTN Ghana, having heard the news about the deplorable state in which the basic school is, the board has given approval for us to invest into a 6-classroom block.
Soon after the announcement, contractors, Welfare Enterprise, moved to site and work began in earnest.
The component comprises a 6-classroom block, staff common room. We have library attached to it. We have headmaster's room, and then teacher's bungalow, and we have classroom chairs. We've done everything. We've done the painting, so now it's ready for commissioning.
Thanks to MTN Ghana Foundation, teachers and students of Inshaiso DA Basic School can now boast of a new full-cycle basic education infrastructure. Francis Otibuatin is the chief executive for Asante Akim North.
I always give credit to my brother Kwame Ntow for such a very huge project. The first time I saw the report on TV, I was even marveled. Say, what is happening? Are we not washing our dirty lining in public? So I wanted to even call the journalist to admonish him about what he have done, but not knowing it was a blessing in disguise. It's one of the most beautiful projects in the district. It comes with all the facilities. It is completion and finishing. 6 classroom blocks cost around 280 to 300,000 for the assembly. But when you talk about finishing and terrazzo and because this one is not an ordinary 6 classroom block, as we always say. This is ultra modern 6 classroom block. It has released assembly about 500,000 Ghana cedis.
For MTN, the Inshaiso project does not only give meaning to its everywhere you go slogan, but also a true definition of the telecom giant's resolve to improve education for the rural poor. Sam Cranton is Corporate Services Executive at MTN Ghana.
It is rather fulfilling and gratifying knowing when we first visited the site what we saw, and with the background stories we had, and to see where we are today, where we actually see the completion of what we started. It is something that is quite fulfilling, and MTN Ghana Foundation is very excited about it, that once again we've been able to complete and finish something that is unique and would be very beneficial to that community and the district at large. The expectation is that it would increase school attendance in the area. It would drastically reduce children dropping out of school because it would create a conducive learning environment for them, and it would boost education in that area because the children are the future of this country, and educating them is the responsibility of all of us.
From Inshaeso in Asante Achim Agogo for Joy News, Kwame Ntow reporting.
MTN Foundation for this great assistance. We also have to say kudos to you, Kwame Ntow, for the great work you're doing wherever you are. Well, I have to say that we have to transition to look at the latest news highlights, as we have the headlines on the front pages, the center spreads, and then also the back pages. Myself, Gifty and Apia, will be right here to do the news review. Stay with us. But in the meantime, we have to do the newspapers. Being joined by Gifty and Apia, and we'll bring you all the latest as to which of the newspapers have which of the stories as well, and then, well, we'll look at others. So, Gifty, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Roland. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Which of the newspapers are you doing, Gifty?
Okay, so let's see what I have. I think I have the Ghanaian Times newspaper. I have the Dispatch as well. Yeah, maybe I can just start off with the Ghanaian Times newspaper. May I?
Yes, please, Gifty. Please do.
All right. So the Ghanaian Times newspaper, banner headline, don't know why I'm mixing up my words in my head. Anyway, banner headline, Western region gets 60 million, that should be euro. Is it 60 million euro waste treatment plant to serve 2 million people, also provide 1,500 jobs. That's a banner headline. It comes with a picture of President Akufo-Addo, and with some of the leadership of the Western region, I believe, cutting the sword there. Yeah, there you have it. That newspaper is right there on your screen. And NLA targets 30 million revenue from digital lottery. That story is on page 14 of the daily Ghanaian Times. And on top of that, you have CRI pushes for 1 meal a day policy for schools, page 11. That's Bright Up here. It's quite been trending since yesterday, I guess. So that's the child rights advocates there asking for a meal per day for schools. And then Second Lady launches 5.3 million soft loan scheme for young women entrepreneurs. This is what you have on the front page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Back page of that paper has the story or the details of that story that we have on the front page, which is about President Akufo-Addo's tour of the Western region and what he has started with. So he's been inaugurating the Aboso Community Mining Project. And so you can read that story on the back page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. And then fire destroys properties at Latebiokoshi. Latebiokoshi. It's a very familiar place, Roland. I've lived there before. The story is by Abigail Arthur and Elsie Commodore. This fire that has destroyed some properties there. This is the Ghanaian Times newspaper there. See, I think I have the Daily Guide as well. Shall I go on?
Yes, please. Gifty, go ahead.
Okay. Banner headline for Daily Guide newspaper. Daily Guide is reporting NPP policies lack sense, says Mahama. Okay. This is a Daily Guide, right? Okay, yeah, it is. Okay. And it comes with a picture of former President John Mahama. former president, it says, I'm just trying to read the paragraph, the first paragraph. Former President John Mahama has launched a blistering attack on President Akufo-Addo and President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his new Patriotic Party administration, saying they are not applying, quote, common sense to planning. Rather, he said when he was in office, he took, well, it's a bit difficult to see from here. Maybe Roland can help me. I just got a bit curious about that particular story. So I wanted to take a look at the first paragraph at least and what it says. So former President Mahama is describing the current administration's policies as something that lacks sense. You can take a look at that story, the Daily Guide newspaper. On top of that, President's cut sword for the first.
So what they are quoting here is that Nana Addo Dankwa is saying they are not applying common sense to planning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think we played an insert from one of his tour areas in the Volta region. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the former president is touring the Volta region. The current president is touring the Western region. Both stories are right there on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper. It is curious though that it didn't get the sword cutting wasn't the banner headline, if you get what I mean. Okay, and then we have President Gassot for first ever waste planting Western region stories on page 6, and our roads feely, not green book stuff. Nana is saying that also on page 6. Beneath the banner headline, you have stories like MIIF clears air on Ejapa royalties. You know about that controversial deal in Parliament and that conversation that's been going on. Stories on page 6. Baumia throws open challenge to NDC. As Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, story also on page 3. And NLA rakes in 30 million. Yeah, from Lotto. Roland, do you like Lotto?
No.
No, we don't.
I'm not. Yeah. Sometimes Lotto dear. No way.
Okay. Well, the other.
But I know somebody I'm very close to who likes Lotto though. I know.
Close to who? You or me?
Yeah, very close to me. Who likes Lotto? Stakes it like no one's business.
Oh wow! I see. Okay, so I'm going to go quickly to the back page of the Daily Guide newspaper. Back page of the Daily Guide newspaper has a picture of President Akufo-Addo. I'm not sure what the story says, but it says football will return soon. President pledges. That's the story there on the back page of the Daily Guide. And then Princess Maidens hit by COVID-19. Oh, really? A lineup of the Black Princess players there for you. It looks like some of them have contracted coronavirus.
Yes, according to the story, they have a number of them who, 2 national team women's, it has confirmed that 7 players of 2 national women's football teams, that Black Maidens and Black Princesses. So they have 7 members in total between the 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then Lazio chief despises Silva and Koeman takes over Barca. So, yeah, that's it for the Daily Guide newspaper. Well, maybe you should jump in there and then I come in.
Okay. So, do you have the Daily Graphic?
The Daily Graphic, I don't think so.
Okay, so I'd want you to do it, but I'll do the Daily Graphic. So the Daily Graphic has on the front page, 2020 general election, Electoral Commission can't implement ROPA, story filed by Albert Salia and Emmanuel Ebo-Hoxson, and tells you about what the Electoral Commission can't do and then would not do, but yeah, I know that one person who has been pushing for this, alongside many others, is Samson Ladi Anyanini. Good morning to you, Samson. Government gives financial support to young female entrepreneurs. The story is on page 16 of the paper, also occupying the front page. Yeah, great prominence, unlike the Daily Guide. This one fully represented. Ifyaku Cement Team recycling plant construction takes off. Front page news straight. For recycling, we need to move away from this landfill, and be doing more recycling. And the story again about this recycling plant being managed by the Jospon Group 1, the Seaway Systems Company Limited. one of the companies also within the Jospon Group. All right. So we have other stories also there. Back page, you take a look at the back page. Maslok disburses loans to poultry farmers in the Ashanti region. Mantrack donates PPE to health institutions, and the police. That is also taking some time or space on the back page. Let me do the Daily Statesman has on the front page, major boost for sanitation. President cuts sword for Ghana's first ever waste treatment facilities. Oh, it's not the first one, Anna. Okay, so we also have Chief of Staff Akufo-Addo is committed to people with special needs. NLA to grab 30 million Ghana cedis from KGL deal. And we have 32 million euro 100-bed hospital project starts at Shama. These are the revelations coming from what we have within the period as the president is visiting the Western region. MIIF clears the air on approval transactions. We have all these on the front page of the Daily Statesman. Gifty, can you go ahead?
Yes, okay. So I'll continue with the Daily Dispatch newspaper. I have a number of the inside pages of that paper as well. Uncle Ben, it's been a while, Roland, since we had him on the show, you know. Good morning to him.
Yeah, but I think we have to tell Derek Akosam, he's a lead producer to
okay.
bring him back.
So I'll tell you what he's reporting. He's made, of course, the cutting sword for the waste treatment facility a banner headline. So Akufo-Addo cuts sword for waste treatment facility in Sekuni Takoradi or Sekuni Takoradi. A story is on page 12. Comes with a picture of president doing his thing. And then Ghanaian government harassing Nigerian retailers for 2020 electoral gains. That's according to the Nigerian foreign minister. Story is on page 11, and it comes with a picture of President Akufo-Addo and President Buhari of Nigeria. So let me take you through a bit more of the papers, the inside pages of the Daily Dispatch newspaper before we get to the back page. Okay, so I have here, from revolution to constitutionalism, PNDC era to Fourth Republic. It has some analysis there, and there's a picture of former President Rawlings, and then I think this one is more like an advert of former President John Mahama. They are launching Standing with JDM, to be launched on August 28th. So you can take a look at the analysis that the paper makes about Ghana's movement from the revolution to the constitutionalism era, the Fourth Republic. It's done some analysis there. You can take a look at it if you're interested. And the NLA's collaboration with KGL Technology to fetch them 30 million. A story you just mentioned. The details are there on the, I think, page 11 of the Daily Dispatch. And Ghanaian government harassing Nigerians. There's a picture of the Nigerian foreign minister, Geoffrey Onyema, there, who is saying that. And then 2020 polls, NPP poised to win massively, if you like, in Donald Trump's way, bigly in Greater Accra region, as according to Ishmael Ashite. And let me finish up with the back page of the Daily Dispatch. Back page, Daily Dispatch, President Akufo-Addo cuts also. It gives you some more pictures of that sword cutting ceremony yesterday in Takoradi. And then the details of the story itself also on that back page. So, Roland, that'll be it for me. Dispatch, Daily Guide, Ghanaian Times. Yep.
All right, so let's go to the National Democrat. The National Democrat has on the front page, nobody more Ghanaian than others. Apede condemns army invasion of Volta. Has an inserted picture of Togbi Apede in a tete-a-tete, according to this caption, with former President John Mahama, at the former's palace at Ho on Wednesday. Ghanaians will pay back free water and electricity next year. Kwesi Pratt predicts. Oh, the reality is that nothing is ever free.
Roland, I'm a bit interested in that story. Can you give us maybe the first paragraph of what's the prediction based on?
Oh, it's about seasoned journalist Kwesi Pratt expressing concerns over you know, the freebies that the welfare package that the president has been announcing, and predictably saying that next year you will pay for it, either hikes in tariffs or some other way. But I think that everybody should know that nothing is ever free on earth. So if you're enjoying something, it's a relief. That's why it's a relief. It's supposed to cushion you in hard times, and when you recover, you pay back. It's a normal thing.
I guess the perspective to this is that, you know, it also looks like a very nice and fortunate opportunity for the incumbent administration, also because it is seeking another term, you know, to be having the opportunity to be the ones giving Ghanaians that relief. But I'm sure we'll get there when you're done with your papers, Roland.
Well, one of the things that government do is supposed to also provide relief for their welfare, for their vulnerable citizens. But other stories we have, down there we have Bawumia must resign over infrastructure lies and deceit. Inusa Fuseni. And Inusa Fuseni also appeared on PM Express Wednesday night with Evans Mensah. Again, repeated this, not exactly, but said, you know, so some of the projects, etc. He has some difficulties with either with the numbers, the way the numbers, or perhaps their costs have gone up because, you know, time has elapsed. There was a period, 2 years, he kept arguing where the contract were being audited, etc. Okay.
Roland, I'm a bit, you know, I just wanted to comment on that picture. And there, what was the paper again? Daily Democrat?
National Democrat.
National Democrat. You know, that's a really interesting picture. I was wondering, whoever did that, took that photo.
Which one?
This one.
The Toby Apede and then Mahama.
Exactly. I mean, it looks very, very interesting with the two people in their face masks, and then you know, there's something about the picture that's pretty striking and interesting. I think the person who took the shots is a very good photojournalist.
Yeah.
You'd want to stop by any day to take a look at this picture. It does speak a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It speaks volumes about the state in which we're in, but also, you know, two great personalities who are conferring on issues. And there's a lot of color too, because it's a traditional event. You're visiting
it's a very striking photo.
The palace,
it attracts your attention easily.
Beautiful.
But I just wanted to comment on that.
Right. All right. Any of your pick you want us to take a look at?
Well, the cutting of the sword, though, is
which one? There are a lot of sword cutting activities have been undertaken by the president since he went to the Western region.
Oh, you lie. This one that all the newspapers are reporting on. That's the issue.
Or is it the recycling plant?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. What about it?
And maybe I said cutting sword because I wanted to look at it in a very general sense. I used to say that, you know, sometimes you get so frustrated with the democratic process that you feel like the democracy has not really given Africa much. Africa itself has not been allowed to evolve on its own, to naturally evolve the way that other democracies and other countries, other developed countries have evolved because of the interruption that colonialism brought to us. So we've not been able to evolve. But the one thing that always comes to mind when I make that statement, that we have not really benefited from democracy, is that if there's any good thing, it is about election years and the things that it brings to the people. So at least we have every 4 years to evaluate somebody, and we have every 4 years to get governments thinking properly, for lack of a better expression. But in that 4 years, you know that at least something good will be done, because the person who is doing it is coming to beg you for another bid. You know, is coming to beg you to stay in power again. So that's one of the good things. And what we're seeing today, what we're seeing done by President Akufo-Addo is very typical, Roland, you know, of every election year. One sword cutting after the other. They're doing this, they're cutting sword. And I'm just thinking to myself and wondering, why don't we just do this? I mean, not because of re-election. Why don't we just do this? Not because we are in an election year. Because what happens is that you cut the sword. Sometimes you even don't have the money. You've not secured the money for the project, but you want to cut the sword because you want to put it somewhere in your green book. You want to put it somewhere on your achievement website to tell people that we have done this, we have done this, we have done that. Even though if you don't win the election, the next government may come and discontinue. If you win the election, you may come and forget about it and do something else, which we have seen over the years anyway. I'm wondering, can we just not do the right things for people? I mean, be genuinely concerned about people and do these things, not because of elections. But that's wishful thinking, I know. So I'll just keep it as such. I'll just keep it as such. But you see, we're seeing a lot of these things. And I'm hoping that even though it is an electoral cycle, we can do it and get the project to benefit the people. So that's the way you know what I mean? Like if you don't get anything at all in an election year, you got some development. So that's what I wanted to comment on. And you see all this fanfare, it's something that I also want to comment about. I don't know. But yeah, what I say won't change anything anyway. But I'm wondering the fanfare and the necessity of a fanfare, especially in COVID-19. Of course, people are wearing their masks and everything, but look at the crowd, Roland. That's your crowd right there for you.
But you know, I think that yes, to complement your argument, we can take it from two sides. The other side is about whether we're clearly doing this because of the votes, but also because of the good of the people. And you have to say that we're doing that for the votes, but also we're doing that because the people need some of these infrastructural projects. At the end of the day, it's about contest of ideas and what you think you can do, how well you're able to communicate it. One thing that should not be lost on us is the fact that today, until the time that we have the election on that day, December 7, it's a time for either John Dramani Mahama, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to all lock their horns and try to pitch their message to the ordinary Ghanaian. The point is that we're at this point in time in our evolution or our development where, compared to the Western countries, they have already far advanced. What they are thinking of is how to manufacture the newest state-of-the-art mobile phones, go to the moon and go to the Mars, or go to Mars, so to speak. We are thinking about how we can get the next road there, or build a new factory.
We can build another KVIP.
Exactly. And that is the state of our development. I'm not saying this because I want us to embrace our situation, but the reality of how we're living, our situation is that this is what it is. So, well, we can choose to say that, well, you're taking advantage of an opportunity because you want to get re-elected. But the reality too is that the people, on the other hand, also need it. In every society, there will be rulership or leaders. And no matter what you think, you're the part of the leaders or you're not. You're part of the ordinary masses. And that's the reality of how we're living and what we're in. Okay?
Well, that's a sad reality. But did you see the video?
Well, you can't. It depends on which part of the political divide you're in, or which side of the developmental paradigm that you support or side with. So you say that maybe it's sad or it's a good reality, you know. So
well, it is good. Like I'm saying, it's one of the good things about Africa's democracy, about the fact that every now and then you can change a government, so you can give them an opportunity to prove to you. And in the process of proving to you that we are worth your vote, they will do something that will be developmental. They will do something. But I'm saying that, I'm looking at the bigger picture. I'm saying that, you know, if you chop the money some, or you do the work, you see what I mean? So that it doesn't necessarily have to be, it doesn't necessarily have to, but Roland, I think there's corruption everywhere, honestly. There's corruption everywhere in these developed countries where they have all the systems, anti-corruption systems that we don't have, that we compare ourselves to. There's corruption everywhere. People are chopping money everywhere. But I'm saying that in some places, people are chopping the money, but they're also doing the work. So people can actually feel like the taxes I'm paying are helpful. I won't see potholes in my road. You get what I mean? I'm just saying that it's good. But I'm saying that could we have been a place where we do these things, not necessarily because of the votes? There is no way you will convince me, Roland, that when politicians go, and as a presidential correspondent, I followed the former president around, cutting some of these sorts. So it's not it's not a particular government. This is something that we have seen over the years.
Yes.
So you cannot convince me that you do this genuinely, that the politicians do this genuinely because they care about the people. I will not buy that argument. Honestly, I won't. I think that we know what it is. It is about the elections. It is about the politics. And I'm just saying that it's good. It's good. People need it. It's good. But I'm saying, can we be more concerned, genuinely concerned about people, so that we put some of these things in place for them because they deserve it, because they've given us their mandate, because we're managing the national resources and they deserve to have these. That's all I'm saying. And we'll do it not because it's because it's an election year. We'll do it anyway because the money is available and the people need that development. But do you see the video, Roland? I just wanted to draw your attention to it. Coronavirus. I mean,
yeah, I've seen the crowds. I've seen the crowds, and it's both in the Western region and the Volta region where the opposition leader is also. So, yeah.
So, I mean, this is how I guess it's going to be. We'll be pretending to be wearing our masks and doing coronavirus, observing social.
But Gifty, it's an election year. How else do you want us to conduct elections and the campaign?
It's not about what I want, Roland. It's about what is the right thing to do. It looks obviously like it's out of our hands, but I see we're not testing as much when we started. I mean, we've changed our case definition, we've changed our processes. So a lot of things have changed. So we may not see the numbers, spiking and all of that. But, well, I'm sure God is protecting us. What else can I say?
Amen. Amen. God bless you. God bless you, Gifty, for your prophecy this morning. Now let's go to myjournline.com and get the latest update, Gifty. All of us are worried about protocols being maintained in the electioneering and how we can conduct. But one thing that is worrying the Nigerian government is the feud. Local traders and their citizens especially. And this is well captioned on the page, myjournline.com. Nigerian government announces measures to end retail trade feud with Ghana. We have other stories as well. WAEC also initiates investigations into leaked exams papers. And Gifty, this as Dominic. We're discussing this on the show this morning.
Yeah, and that's great. We should have that discussion. It actually sounds like a broken record. In my days, apple pie,
I never got one. So I'm wondering.
But it looks like this year's apple has been,
I don't get apple before. I mean, you go hear the rumors, but I don't get some before. So I wish I go forget.
Roland, really? Anyway.
No, I never,
You never see apple.
I don't see apple.
Oh, wow.
Oh, true.
I mean, I think I saw one B, but I'm not sure.
Drop.
Me, I try to be Holy Ghostous and all of that. So
yeah. You see the apple, but no drop. Well, so we have to take a break. When we come back, we'll bring you the latest sports headlines. But Gifty and Rapia, thank you. It's been exciting always having you. And tomorrow is the last day of the working week, so we'll have it again. Well, Gifty, Echo has promised to work on your thing for you. I don't know what your thing. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll bring you things in sports.
Back home, former Division 1 League Board Chairman Ntow Fianko is not happy with the new Congress date set by the Ghana Football Association. Now, the FA rescheduled the date for Congress from August 27 to September 1. The same day, the Court of Arbitration for Sport, that's CAS, is expected to give its verdict on the Refredo Sekweku, affectionately known as Palmer, his case with the FA. Ntow Fianko believes all the attention will be tilted towards the CAS case.
On Thursday, why can't you do on Friday? On the other hand, this one has happened. Why not do it 2nd September, which is Wednesday? But why did you choose 1st September 4 days? The day that people, the whole country, even that day, previous day, that they cried, the sun didn't shine. People were kept in suspense. People were worried because of panic or which of course there was no element of truth. People had not seen any judgment, were quoting from judgment that this is a summary of the judgment, which was a palpable force. I would say it was nonsensical. It was a palpable force because we have not seen the judgment. You were quoting. So what source were you quoting from? The same thing happened on that day. So if you are going to do amendment, which is a serious business, end of year, and people have called for amendments, all these things, there will be proposals, counter proposals. We discuss their provision and vote on it. And people out there will be fidgeting their phones, knowing what has happened in CAS. Would there be also concentration on the business for a day? The answer is no.
Okay.
The media, if for instance the claimant fails to come, some of the media will go to us, awaiting the results. Even the media will be at the Congress. Their concentration will be what is happening in CAS. As I said, if you should go the way of the claimant, i.e., the fourth relief, it means the foundation of gun football, who at the Congress, will be shaking. Or to lose itself there if we say there should be elections. And then if the claimant loses the case, the media will discuss that thing, and they will not be discussing the Congress, which of importance to us, and which comes once a year, because it's ordinary. It's not extraordinary. Ordinary, which is a mandatory provision we have to have before kickoff. You are proposing kickoff October. And this is a Congress which people have proposed serious amendments, Article 1 to 81 or 82. Some of the view that there is nothing special about 1st September, which of course already because that day, the concentration in the whole country, those in Ghana, will be on the CAS ruling.
And so we're talking about that discussion, and it's about the leaked papers for the West African Senior School Certificate Examination organized by the West African Examination Council. Now, this has grabbed the attention of many stakeholders. We're talking not only the teachers, but also the think tanks, those operating within the sector, and rightly so. Well, we'll try as much as possible get to the public relations head for the West Africa Examination Council, Agnes Kujarai, and give us some insight into what the West African Examination Council thinks, and then what it is doing about these leaked papers and what sort of investigations could be undertaken. But right here in the studio, we do have Philippa Larson. She is the president for the Ghana National Association of Teachers. Big organization, big institution. They should be concerned as well. I have to say thank you for joining us. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Great. We will be joined also on the stream by Kofi Asari. Kofi Asari is executive director for Education Watch Africa, and they raised this issue in a very big way in a statement saying that, look, we needed a thorough investigation by Parliament, and subsequently the minority also said that they wanted the papers cancelled, at least those that have been confirmed to have leaked. But let me start right off here with Madam Philippa Larson. Well, we have heard confirmed, and West Africa Examination Council also has reacted. Now, for the teacher community, what's the reaction?
Well, Roland, let me say good morning to your cherished viewers and to the Ghanaian community, to our invigilators, our teachers, and to our students, our candidates. Roland is so worrying, and if we are not careful, this issue is going to become an annual ritual. Over the years, we have had issues where examination papers have leaked, and all we have done is just to cancel the examination papers. Now, there are certain things that we have to look at. Once we do, or once we cancel examination papers, we should know that all these things go with cost, the financial implications, the time, labor, and all that. And so it's just not enough to say that you are canceling the examination papers. There should be a thorough investigation into all that and get to the root cause of the issue. It is something that we have to kill. It's not just a matter of canceling the papers. And people will have to be brought to book. People who are found culpable will have to be punished. Over the years, we have not had any information about people who, from wherever who have had hand in it and have been punished. And I think this is the time we all have to look at it and do the right thing, get to the root cause of it and punish people so that we kill this thing once and for all.
Well, we do know that social media seem to have exacerbated the situations, are not it? Because hitherto, the papers will have to be transported under lock and key to the far distance, the hinterland, etc. So even if there was a leakage, it was confined. Now, information travels as much as possible. Now, for you who have your members being examiners, etc., how then is this a burden further?
It is a burden, Roland, because, you know, these are candidates that the schools are fully prepared. They have spent sleepless nights in writing these examinations. And so we are much more concerned about the fact that these students, if WAEC cancels the examinations, it means we'll have to prepare them again and come back to write the examination. And it is not good news for us. Again, if we are not careful, people around the world are not going to respect the certificates that we own. And that is very, very bad. At least people will have to give recognition to the Ghanaian certificate and respect it as such. And so these are the issues that we have to look at. It is so worrying. And again, if we are not careful, our students are no more going to learn, to be honest with you, because if they are sure that every year they have somebody who will give them a pour and all that, then why would they have to spend sleepless nights studying and preparing for examination? And so these are all issues that we have to look at. Again, the financial implications. You know that anytime examination questions are cancelled, it is the government that will have to bear the cost. And this is the taxpayers' money. Money that should be used for another thing is being used for these examinations again. And these are all the issues that we will have to look at. And finally, like I've mentioned earlier, people will have to be punished. Otherwise, I have mentioned, it will become an annual ritual.
Look, at the end of the day, we know that there needs to be this close collaboration with the West African Examination. They work with teachers over the years to make sure that the students are prepared and then also put together all these great questions just to give the validity to the certificate that is issued. How are the members feeling about this sort of thing?
Yes, I've mentioned that our members are not happy. We are not happy at all this thing is happening. Our members are the examiners and all that. Yes, we expect an examination that is free of any malpractices or whatever. And so if questions can leak to the extent of it being posted on social media, then it doesn't become an examination anymore. And these are the concerns that we have raised. And that is why we are saying that there should be an independent committee constituted to do a thorough investigations into the issues, come out with their findings, and probably maybe recommend certain things that will have to be done so that this thing that doesn't repeat itself again. Yes.
We do know that the times have changed. Because of technology, news is traveling fast. How then, as an association, do you also tend to do the collaboration with your members who tend to deal with the West African Examination Council or the schools that are also the examination centers, so that the students are prepared in a way not to rely on some of these outside information that they get, but do what is real?
Roland, examination is examination. Our members who are the teachers and invigilators prepare our candidates enough. But you know, for anybody, once you hear or you know that somebody is saying this is the questions that are going to drop, who wouldn't want to look at it? Anybody will look at it, and that is why we are saying these things must stop. And it is only when we have gotten to the root cause of the whole thing, known who is perpetrating that whatever, and then the person is dealt with, so that at the end of the day, it doesn't happen. Otherwise, if we keep quiet over this and say that the papers will just have to be cancelled, every year we have some examination papers cancelled, and it will become an annual ritual. We will never be able to cure this issue of examination leakage.
Well, we've been joined by Kofi Asari. He is the Executive Director for Education Watch Africa. Kofi, good morning to you. Kofi, good morning. Please, can you unmute for us? Definitely.
Cherished audience, and good morning to Madam Philippa.
Yes, I know that the two of you have an engagement this morning, or she has an engagement with your organization this morning. So, but Kofi, from the last time that you raised issues with us and also got to the news media to raise concerns, you may have premise your statement and your observations on certain indicators that you may have monitored. What have you gotten by way of information that could have led to this wide leakage as we have it?
Well, if you read WIEC's own reports of last year, and in one of the news reports that they briefed Ghanaians on the outcome of a particular case they reported to the police, they indicated that questions normally leak when they leave their strong room, and then they leak through persons taking shots of the questions and then circulating them ahead of the questions getting to their internal destination. And so, according to WIEC, within the questions value chain, where the leakage occurs is normally between their strong room and then the school. And so that is what they are saying. We haven't conducted any investigation into how it leaks, and that's why we have called for the intervention of the Parliamentary Select Committee to delve much deeper into the entire value chain and help us unravel where the gaps are, and then how we can prefer institutional and policy level remedies to strengthen the institution and also our assessment sector and uphold the integrity of our examination process. But so far as WIEC is concerned, they are interested in rather abdicating responsibility, because they are saying that the thing leaks when it leaves their jurisdiction. That's virtually what they are saying, because they are responsible for the strong room, but they say the thing leaks after it has left their strong room. So it is not, even though it is leaking, they cannot be blamed. That is their position. So the question of who to blame, perhaps, and also where to, because if you blame, if you get to know where the blame is, you get to know where the gaps in the performance of one's duty is, where the gaps in the performance of one's duty is, for that matter, where can be strengthened. But if you don't know it, it makes it difficult for you to call any remedies to fix the institutional issue.
Okay, we've been joined by Isaac J. Hyde. He is the president for the National Union of Ghana Students. And Isaac, good morning to you.
Good morning, Roland. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. I hope you're well. I see that you have bandages and things around your hand. So.
Yeah, I was at the gym.
Okay. Yeah, machoing. Please, we'll be with you in a moment. But what, beyond just the discrediting of our certificate, what are the wide implications for the students, for the teachers, for the parents of having these leakages as we are reporting it?
Yeah, well, I've mentioned that it's so worrying, and parents, teachers, and students, especially for students, they will have to again spend sleepless nights, but they will have to study and rewrite these examinations. For parents, a lot of them have programs and projects for their awards after they have exited from schools. And so it will mean that their plans will have to be thwarted. They will have to let their children go through the process of preparing themselves for examination again. And as teachers, we cannot close our eyes and ears and say that the students will have to prepare and write their own examination. Definitely, we also have to take them back and prepare them very well. Again, I mentioned the financial implications to the whole of us as a country. And that is also so worrying. Money that could have been used for other things will have to be used for these papers, because even at the times our parents were paying for the awards examinations, anytime there was this leakage and examination questions or papers are cancelled, the parents do not pay again. It is the state that will have to pay the cost. And these are also worrying, and that is why we are calling for an independent investigation to be conducted into the issues so that we kill it once and for all. It doesn't recur again.
Okay, so this is Isaac J. Hyde's statement. That's as National Union of Ghana Students, and we'll put that on the screens for you. And they've indicated that it is suicidal for the nation that many students are ending their secondary academic lives and potentially qualifying to be enrolled into tertiary institutions with the help of leaked question papers. Now, the National Union of Ghana Students strongly holds that the failure of authorities to end the cycle of paper leakages further perpetuates the already stuck inequities and inequalities in the educational system. Now, Isaac J. Hyde, what have been your observations over the period about the outputs of students from our schools into the universities and other tertiary institutions, vis-a-vis what they may have gone through before passing the examinations into these schools, and how it affects quality. Isaac. Okay. Kofi, Mr. Kofi Asari.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. So the question to you, the observations about the quality of the output from our secondary schools or even our basic schools as they transition to the next ladder of of education, and how we draw inferences from some of these incidents of leakage.
Yeah, you see, this is how it affects the progression or the transition process. A student is able to get an A certificate from WAEC on account of leaked papers and answers they got. Now the student has A in maths, goes to the university. You are allowed to do economics, and then you can't do simple algebra. So by the end of the first year, you are below 1.0 or 1.5 GPA, and then you have to come back home. Second implication, universities are watching whatever is happening. They get to a point that they are convinced that it is likely majority of the students had questions and answers, and for that matter, their real academic competencies would not be what is captured on paper. And so they will want to physically, they want to examine them themselves to justify or to validate what is on the WAEC certificate. And so they may bring back the entry exams. 15 years ago, there was an entry exams to enter the university, even though you had a WAEC certificate. These were some of the reasons why those interventions were brought. And so when you run such regimes, it gets to the point where institutions within the educational ecosystem will say that we don't have full confidence in the quality of this certification because of the gaps in that system. And so we are going to do our own examination before we admit you. It may happen locally. It may happen internationally when you are using the certificate of WAEC to progress within the educational value chain. And so within the educational system. And so these are three of the possible ramifications of having a system that always churns out leaked papers, for your students. And that is what we want to prevent. That's why anytime we speak about institutional reforms. WAEC is now a regulator and a service provider. No one regulates WAEC. If you look at the Act 719, WAEC's law, no one they are regulated by their own council at the international level. So they are regulated themselves. They are a judge always sitting in their own courts and passing judgments in their favor. We need an independent regulator for WAEC, as I keep saying, similar to what we have in the UK, the Ofqual, Office of the Qualification Assessment. If you go to Scotland, they have the SQA, the Scottish Qualification Authority. These are bodies that regulate, set standards, enforce them. If you are an examining body like WAEC and your standard of examining students falls below the required standards, they are going to punish you. They will prefer sanctions against you, including revocation of your license. But you see, over here, because there are no such regulators, WAEC rather is always quick to impose sanctions on students by cancelling their papers, when in actual fact, the cause of the problem is WAEC. But you end up exacting sanctions that rather punishes someone who is a beneficiary of the problem, but not the person who actually facilitated at the root level the cause of the problem. So we need to overhaul the entire assessment system in Ghana, and that is what we have recommended to Parliament. Finally, it's very important to note that all the discussion is happening because the principle of checks and balances have failed to fester at WAEC and the institution of WAEC. Because whatever is going on in WAEC is simply what we say in law, a walking contradiction. The same person who is the regulator is the service provider. And so there are no checks and balances, unlike the Ghana Education Service, which is under the regulation of, among others, the National Inspectorate Board and even the Ministry of Education. But the WAEC issue shouldn't have been left to fester for so long. The chief executive of WAEC, the head of the Ghana National Office, in any jurisdiction should have resigned by now. After writing the letter yesterday, the letter that indicated that yes, the leaked details of the examiners was actually a valid WAEC document. In that last paragraph, she should have resigned. Because if you go to WAEC website, everything they are doing, the most cherished value is integrity. For you to disclose the contact details of examiners, it is not allowed. It is standard practice in the international examining sector that there is a non-disclosure agreement between you, the examiner, you, the assessor, or the assessment body, and your examiners. There's a non-disclosure responsibility on WAEC. Because if you disclose that Kofi Asari is the economics examiner in Central Region, he teaches at this school, this is his telephone number and his email address. What you do is that you expose me to people who can come and say, Kofi Asari, take this money, I want to influence you. I want to breach your oath of objectivity and impartiality, which has made you, among others, an examiner, and that favor me. You expose me to that level of manipulation. At the same time, you also expose me to harm, where somebody will say, this man is the one who marked my papers, because I learned that our questions in East Region went to Central Region, and when I traced, it was him. Then you can do something to Kofi Asari. So there's a fear factor and also the possibility of influencing. Having that document in the public domain is more serious than the questions that leak every year. And that is why I am surprised that the WAEC National Office boss is still at post. We are going to write to the council itself, which is not in Ghana, the international body. We are going to write to the international body and then complain about how the inefficiency of the WAEC National Secretariat, for which is headed by the National Council Office boss, has managed Ghana's assessment system this year to the extent that examiners' details is now a public issue. And we'll call for them to interdict her, but they are the first body to investigate that administrative issue, not any other body. And then possibly they should ask her to step aside, because we think that's a breach of the integrity processes in WAEC, a breach of one of the key and cardinal principles of WAEC is a breach of integrity. Okay. And so she should resign by now.
Well, we do have Isaac J. Hyde, president for the National Union of Ghana Students on stream now. Now, Isaac, the student community, because largely you also deal with students in tertiary institutions, it also means that there is some anxiety even with the administrators and the lecturers. Well, so we also do have the PRO for the West Africa examination, the head of the public relations unit, Agnes Kujo, join us. Good morning to you. We've perused your statement, and you seem to be worried, but you say that you have sent the matter to the cyber crime unit of the police CID. Is that so? Good morning to you. Good morning to you.
I can hear you.
Okay. Yes, your statement does indicate that you say the cybercrime unit or the cybercrime department of the Ghana Police Service handling that. That's for the CID. Now.
Yes.
Okay. So what exactly are they doing for you?
No, I think that with the issue of the examiners list, it was circulated on social media, and we need to find out how it got there, and then that will help us with our investigation. You understand me? Because if it is from and it's an in-house document, so I think we want to get to the fact. So
now,
that's mainly the report that we have.
Okay. Now, at the West African Examination Council, is it the first time that there has been this mass leakage of papers? in the modern era?
Of the examiners list?
The list, the papers.
I will not accept what you're saying because we have not said that anything has leaked. So if you say the list, the papers, I don't know what you're talking about. If you talk about the fact that the examiners list has gone out, yes. But when you talk about leakage of papers, no.
So what is now, in this modern era, the standard operating procedure for getting the questions, taking it through printing, and then the distribution to the examination centers? If you can take us through that chain.
Well, our app is all through moderating meetings, everything. Our subject officers have compiled the paper. It's taken through testing, all under security. I will not be able to tell you the kind of security, but then all under strict security. We do typesetting, we do proofreading. Then papers are printed, still under very, very tight security to have sanity there at the press. You know, we have our cameras. People are not even allowed to take in their, wristwatches, anything. You know, very tight security. You are searched before you enter. You don't take mobile. You don't take anything. And those who enter the printing room, when you enter, you don't come out till you have finished for the day. You know, everything is done at the very tight security. So from there, it's going to post, it's printed, it's parceled, it's packed. And then we go to where we call packing, where it's packed according to the number of candidates. And then there are bags in security bags. We have our security padlock. Then we send it to the depots, what they are to the school, come and pick them from the depot or the strong room and to the center. In a nutshell,
would you say that this flow that you have just described it has been the same or has changed from what it used to be, let's say, at the time when technology was not very much pervasive in our environment?
It's not being the same because we've even introduced things to ensure that even using security or even using maybe activity. We've even introduced certain things that are even helping us to tighten the security. So we are not doing the same things like we did even 5 years ago. We're not doing the same things that we did 3 years ago. So every year we look at what can we do to enforce security, to make things even tighter, to make things even tighter. So it is not the same.
Would you agree that the inability of the council, the West Africa Examination Council, to adopt some of the tightest security encryptive technology has led to this situation?
I would not agree with you because it is not our inability to adopt tighter encrypted technology. That is not.
But we have a
now, if I hand over something to you, and after I've handed over something to you, it's, snapshots are taken. I don't think it is tighter encrypted security.
Okay.
I think investigations are going on, so I think I'll leave it there.
This is a public matter, so we're not discussing the investigative aspect of it. That's for the cybersecurity unit of the police CID. We're talking about what the public institution WAEC does and how it influences the examinations of students.
Yes, and I think I have answered that.
Yeah, great. So what we cited, the examiners list, it is not a snapshot. Have you cited what is in the public domain?
That the examiners list are snapshots. Maybe sometimes I think the media ends up confusing matters have not said that the examiners list are not sure. And I think with the examiners list, we have seen it's a document that was being worked on, which got into the public domain. I think we have all, we know they are Excel sheets, right? And it is something that our staff were working on, like in readiness for the market. So they are.
All right.
We haven't said that.
So the West African Examination Council, since you're talking about screenshots and snapshots, which section or aspect of the documentation that you handle related to examinations seem to have been snapshot or screenshot? If it's not the examination, if not the examiner's list.
Roland, you have a few of the questions. Because if you did, I think that our interaction because we spoke first of all, about examiners. That's where we stated that we had four issues to the time.
Well, please, we're having some difficulty with the lines. I think you can hear us, but we can't hear you clearly. It's been happening for the last, I thought it would get better. So we'll call you back. Please, please try and pick up the call when we call back so that we can have... Now, the leakage of the examiners list, and I do know the examiners usually is the composition of those who teach, those who administer examination, those who also tend to do the marking, they set the questions, etc. So your membership is also included. How risky is that?
Very, very risky, Roland. You see, these examiners are picked from different schools in different regions, in different districts. And in some of the schools, the staff of the school do not even know that this particular teacher or staff member is even an examiner. And so for a whole list of examiners to come out this way, definitely it is coming out from the institution. And no one can say, I don't know, it's coming out from the institution.
Relax. Oh, thank you for joining us again. So the last aspect I didn't get, so let me just rephrase the question or ask again. You said okay, please. You said there were screenshots or snapshots taken, even because they left. Oh, please let me phrase the question, they left your tight security environment, but there were screenshots and then snapshots. And I'm asking, which documents that you deal with were screenshot and then also snapshot? Is it
no, we have never mentioned anything about screenshot.
No, you said it, please, right now.
I didn't say that. I said that what we have, we have given in my interaction and this is screenshot. All what and I said that this should have the copy of our system. The list that is out there in the public domain. We all know that it's an Excel sheet because it was something that was being worked on. So that could not have been explanation. Now, the mathematics for 2 papers, that is where we have snapshot of the paper case. So, according to his school, and then took snapshots of the paper. And that is the snapshot. But we don't have any.
Okay, so you agree that the mathematics paper that is administered by the West Africa Examination Council, especially for this WASI, the one that they wrote was snapshot, right?
Exactly.
Great. And I'm asking, where do you think it was snapshot? Is it outside your security?
We are investigating. Yes, it was after it left the strong room, but we are investigating to find out what exactly happened.
How do you justify the documents containing the list of the examiners? That one too was outside the security setup.
That's one we are saying it is our responsibility because nobody works on it apart from us. Our staff who work on it, our staff who compile this of examiners, it is why staff who issue out invitation letters to examiners. So we take responsibility.
Okay. So if it is A, then it presupposes that B also was coming from you, the snapshot.
How can you, put them together?
Okay, so you only deal with the examination list, and you do.
It is administration of examination. We deal with so many parts. You understand? So when the moment the third party comes in, then you have to, or then whatever it is, you wipe it your investigation.
I understand. No, we're not talking investigation. So let's leave the investigation to the cybercrime unit.
For example, with the examiners list, we even have hard copies that are printed. That examiners come and they want to find out, have I been shortlisted or something? We look at that. So if we have something like that out there, then we wonder that, maybe if examiner A came, could he be the one who took a snapshot? But this one, it is the soft copy. So we are saying that definitely it will be from in-house. You understand me? And then you are relating that with, if you have accepted responsibility for A, then accept responsibility for B. And I'm just telling you that you cannot put the two together because they are all, the processes and procedures for the two are different.
I've not said you should take responsibility for the snapshot and the screenshot. No, I've not said that.
Said that.
No, I'm saying that you say that you have a tight security arrangement for the way WAEC deals with the documents. And we're talking these documents. We know the generic document. We're talking the examiner's list. We're talking about the question documents. The questions document. It's a document. Now, I'm saying if under your tight security, we have the main document of examiners in the public domain, while we also know that a third party outside your security environment could also snapshot and screenshot, there's also a 100% possibility that somebody within your tight security environment also snapshot and screenshot a document that you deal with.
Hello?
Yes, please. Hello.
Once you are talking of possibility, then it cannot be 100%. Because then you are talking about probability. So
okay.
You are not 100%.
Fine. Now, let me just ask my last question, and then I will let you go. I know that there are weightier matters that we all have to deal with. So, this is what Imani Africa president wrote, and I know this will not take long. What if it sets different set of questions for schools in different districts, but with the same level of difficulty? Is it possible that you set different questions for different districts?
Whatever it is, we have to look at cost implications, we have to look at logistics, and everything that goes. So I think that whatever it is, management will look at going forward.
Okay, so you are promising there will be changes after this year?
I am not promising. I said that management would consider it. But then we also have to look at cost and a whole lot of other things that are needed, would be needed to be able to do something like that. So
my last question, sorry. I talked to somebody who is in technology. He says that why don't you send an encrypted message so that where there's the examination center, they do the printing jinahoji for the students. Then you write, so the thing is sent real time. You do the printing.
You know what it takes to
I don't know. I'm saying that I talked to a technology company. I don't know.
The security processes that would take to print a question. So if, for example, we have over how many districts, 200 and something districts in Ghana, are we going to set up examination?
It's just printer. The printer at the examination hall for, let's say...
Even after we have sent a printed question, somebody is taking a snapshot. How much more you have a printer?
No, you send it the morning of the examination or the afternoon. You send it real time. We have internet. Now it's easy.
I think that you would need to apprise yourself of our process. Because things are, sometimes when we are out there, things are easier said than done. Because for you to say that, you should take a printer somewhere, and then on the day of the paper, you print and then you send, I think we need to interrogate that issue.
Well, thank you very much. I'm so grateful that you've been able to respond to us. Very receptive of you. We appreciate you. Again, when we have one or two other questions, call you within the day so that we can all have some great discussions to improve the state of our examinations. Agnes Teikujo is the head of public relations for the West African Examination Council and helping us. Now, Kofi Asari. What's your response to the position that has been taken by the West African Examination Council? I mean, right now, the conversation we just had, beyond what you've been advocating.
I think the position of WAEC this morning is only reinforcing the WAEC we know every year. Everything we haven't made any progress with all that she said. She's virtually defending her organization. And they have never been at fault. That's the summary of what she said. Now, she is trying to tell all of us that when the questions leave the strong room, WAEC is not responsible. I was signaling, I wanted to ask her, so who should we hold responsible for leakages that occur after the strong room? Because if she is telling us that it leaked outside the strong room, so it's not their responsibility, I wanted her to tell us, who do we hold responsible? If WAEC is no more responsible for the entire examination process, and there's another agency who has sole responsibility for ensuring the security of the examination process from WAEC strong room to the school, where there are WAEC's external invigilators there, then who else should we hold responsible? That's the question I wanted to ask her.
Okay, so that'll be a question I think you should pose to the police CID, because they are investigating.
Well, you see, anyway.
All right.
Well, let's just leave it there. So okay. WAEC is not ready to take any blame. That's the point. So until WAEC begins to take blame,
it's taking blame for the leakage of the list of the exam, because that one it says it's a whole document. So it's a
they cannot deny. Because that one wasn't a screenshot, it was actually an Excel spreadsheet. Yeah. And the people on the list said yes. We called many of them, people that we know. So they couldn't have denied it. But because the questions involve a lot of actors within the value chain, it's easier for you to say you are not responsible. But we will be happy if WAEC themselves will indicate to us who in this case should be responsible. But I hope that the Parliamentary Select Committee will look at all these scenarios and then give us an in-depth understanding and also make some recommendations on how to ensure that we don't leave responsibility gaps within the examination supply chain. If there are responsibility gaps, you may find it difficult to hold people responsible for certain inefficiencies along the chain.
Okay. Isaac J. Hyde, president of the National Union of Ghana Students. How is this resonating? What's the feedback within the student community, the tertiary institutional administrators, that community as well?
Well, Roland, thank you. I must say that we are not happy at the moment because it appears that each and every year that we have issues of examination leakages, the student is held to blame. As I speak to you, WAEC is an independent organization with all the structures to prepare final exams for the students. The students are not part of the preparation process. Ours is to prepare on our campuses, go to the registered places for examinations to go and sit for the exams. So on what basis do we end up being at the receiving end whenever WAEC has an institutional challenge? As I speak to you, never have we heard that WAEC has paraded or sanctioned some people for leaking papers. But at every point in time, you hear that WAEC intends to cancel papers. It is on this note that myself and my students are saying that this time around, we are not going to sit to let that happen. WAEC must reform. If WAEC is going to reform, it must look within. It must look within its security. It must look within its processes, where the challenges are coming from. At no point in time are students involved in the examination, printing of exam papers. Students are not involved with the marking scheme. Students are not involved with examiners' reports. Students have nothing to do with how WAEC runs its exams. Ours as a stakeholder is to go and sit for the exams. And so we expect to see that WAEC has held itself accountable. We have not seen that. And we are not going to sit down this time around to watch WAEC to come and tell us once again that we are going to resit the exams. And as I speak to you, you know the challenges and sometimes the mental stress that goes into preparation for exams. It is easier said.
Okay.
For WAEC to say that, because the questions have leaked, students should go and resit.
All right. Please, as we wrap up, Madam Philippa Lawson, what do you think, as NAT, should be the reforms that the whole structure of setting examinations or questions and then sitting for the examinations need to go through?
Roland, I think there should be reforms in the examining body that examines students. And let me mention that I'm happy Madam Agnes Kujo accepted responsibility for the examiners list. And like the question you rightly asked, does it then mean that they also have to accept responsibility for the leaked questions? Roland, I know that in some instances, institutions bring on board other people who are not necessarily staff of that particular entity.
Third parties.
Third parties. But at the time you engage their services, they become party of whatever you do, and people have to be held responsible. And these are people who work with these examination questions and all that. And so whatever be the case, WAEC cannot run away from this issue of leakage of examination questions. And they will have to take responsibility and make sure the right things are done. For me and for us as unions, I think that there should be reforms. And over the years, there have been discussions as to whether examination questions should even be changed in the order in which they appear for each individual student. And you were asking whether different questions could be set for different regions or different districts and all that. And she's talking about the cost. We are still here talking about the cost implications. Which one is better? To do the right things and make sure our certificates are credible, our certificates that can be recognized by the whole world and all that, or looking at the issue of an annual ritual where every year we have the issue of examination leakages and having to bother students to study again and rewrite examination. All these are issues. And so seriously, there should be reforms. We have to look at our examinations in a different way where every individual possibly can answer different questions.
Okay. Thank you. That's your last word, though. Please, your last word, just for a minute. Kofi Asari, when I was reading some literature from some portals in India, this is what they say. They said the question paper should be delivered to the respective examination location in a digitally encrypted format, along with secure password and other security locking. The examination paper can be downloaded at the exam center 30 minutes prior to the start of the examination. And they add this. This is possible because technology is supposed to improve examinations and practice and conduct, and not rather increase leakage. What do you say to this, Kofi Asari?
It is possible. In the absence of integrity, it is possible. In the presence of integrity, we would have done just what the Cambridge people do. Cambridge has been doing exams in Ghana in the private schools, O-level, A-level. The questions get to Ghana 1 month before the examination. They are kept in the school. No headmaster will release the questions to the student because they understand what assessment really means and how it affects the integrity of their own institution. But unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of integrity in the public sector. And so such technology proofs are recommended. All we can do is that I am aware that there's an ongoing connection of Wi-Fi to all secondary schools in Ghana. And so maybe by the end of the year, this should have been done. Once we have Wi-Fi connected to every secondary school, and WAEC centers are virtually secondary schools for WASI. It means that in the next year WAEC examination, we can transmit questions through encrypted processes and then purchase printers in every school. How many schools? You have about 800 or about 650 or 700 schools. Purchase printers in every school so that the printing of the paper will be done in the exam room, in the full glare of WAEC's external invigilators and then the internal invigilators too. That can be done once the Wi-Fi project that government is implementing, which is a very, very laudable initiative, is completed. And so there are opportunities. Okay, that's why I want an external body to set up a committee, invite stakeholders from the education sector within the assessment system, all those in the value chain. We will all come and meet the committee and give them our suggestions about how to reform the system. But it starts from WAEC, because when you suggested this to them, even before your suggestion, it was thrown away. They said, oh, it's not possible, because they are used to a system that has been overtaken by technology. We need to catch up with technology. And so all such options are open for discussion, but they will not be considered until an external agency like Parliament is putting together an inquisitorial committee to investigate not only the causes and then the people who are responsible for the purposes of punishing them, but also for the purpose of institutional reform, strengthening the capacity of WAEC to have a more secure system, upholding the integrity of the Ghanaian examining system, and most importantly, strengthening regulation and enforcement and standards in the assessment ecosystem within the Ghana's education system.
Thank you very much for landing. Eric, and that's Kofi Asari, the Executive Director for Education Watch Africa, helping us do the discussion. Madam Philippa Larson, also President, the Ghana National Association of Teachers, also deeply worried because their members have been giving a lot of calls about, look, what's happening. Our lists as examiners now out in the open. Thank you for passing through the studio this morning. We're very much grateful. Well, we need to, on the sidelines, discuss related issues on elections, because we are your election headquarters. We went to Botiano, English and Manfro. We spoke to the parliamentary candidate for the MPP. Sylvester Tetteh says that he's poised to again retain the seat for the governing party.
Anything different, explaining government policy, speaking for them, advocating for them, reaching out to them and explaining the message of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as a member of parliament. First of all, I'm a lawmaker, I'm a lobbyist and an advocate for a community. These are things I'm telling them. I'm not telling them anything extra. And of course, the records of the MPP in this constituency is outstanding. And that is a message on which we are campaigning. And of course, everybody knows, wherever you've been to in this constituency, there is something that the MPP has done in the 4 years stay in government.
And there's something that we'll do. We'll show you full detail of this interaction with Sylvester Tetteh after this break. My question is, how come I'm seeing your posters and billboards here too?
Well, Roland, you've been part of this political system, even though you are not an active front runner in our political system, but you're pretty much aware that I've moved from Ningo Pram Pram to Botiano, English and Manfro, and gracefully have won the primaries here. So I'm the candidate for the MPP in this constituency.
So what somebody who asks that, you won because you had the right sort of message for the delegates. So you won. Now, apart from that, you also may have made some promises that these are some of the key aspects of development that you think your constituents would need in Botiano, English and Manfro. What are they? If, let's say, I ask you, name at least 6 of them or even 4 of them.
Well, Roland, first of all, the primaries was an internal one. Therefore, the party was looking at somebody that is marketable, somebody that can stand the test of time, somebody that can make this place a stronghold of the party, somebody that can be a good advocate for the party and build a resilient political party. For me, I think that I went to the elections with a clear message of uniting the party for victory 2020. And of course, not just victory, but a significant victory as far as the numbers are concerned. Roland, the numbers has increased from 76,000 to 108,000 in a just ended registration. And of course, it requires somebody with the right attitude, with the right mindset, the huge mentality for winning an election, and not just winning, but winning with a very big difference. That is what the party people were looking for. So I think that most of the things I discussed with the party people, they bought into it. They saw my message, my personality, and what I bring on board this constituency. This constituency is largely predominantly Gadangbe community. And of course, I could resonate very well with the people. And for that reason, my party gave me a resounding victory in the just ended primaries. And I haven't disappointed them. It's been pretty good since after the primaries, and immediately after the registration, we've been on the road. As you can see, my people this morning, it's been like this since. And morning, afternoon, evening, we are on the road, reaching out to our constituents, giving them hope, explaining government policies to them. We're not doing anything different, explaining government policy, speaking for them, advocating for them, reaching out to them and explaining the message of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. As a member of parliament, first of all, I'm a lawmaker, I'm a lobbyist and an advocate for a community. These are things I'm telling them. I'm not telling them anything extra. And of course, the records of the MPP in this constituency is outstanding. And that is a message on which we are campaigning. And of course, everybody knows, wherever you've been to in this constituency, there is something that the MPP has done in the 4 years stay in government.
But Tiano English, Amanfro, you unseated a member of parliament?
Yes.
Okay. So it means that that person may not have endeared him or herself very well to the delegates in the first place.
Well, you know, every election comes with its own dynamics. And of course, he was a credible candidate for election 2016. Going forward into 2020, it comes with a different dynamics. The delegate, over 560 delegates, knew what they were looking for, and they gave me a resounding victory. So I don't want to say he has not endeared himself with the people, but I want to say that the dynamics of 2020 election requires that Sylvester Tetteh lead the charge, and of course, I've been given that mandate.
Well, just walk me a little bit and let's see how it goes. Look, you're somebody who heads the National Youth Authority, is that not it?
Yeah, it is.
And for somebody who has a youth authority, it means that your main objective will be foremostly the youth, but also you want to cut across all the demographics. Is that how you see the demographics in the constituency?
Obviously, you cannot be an MP for only the youth in your community, but we reckon that a significant investment should be made in the lives of young people, and the president has shown the way. And I've said that on many platforms, that the president in the Fourth Republic has been the president that has invested in young people more than any president.
You're talking about Nana Addo Dankwa
Akufo-Addo. And I'm happy, humbly, to be leading the charge at the National Youth Authority. Of course, some of the things I'm doing at the National Youth Authority will find its way here, and just like any other constituency, I've come to understand the youth arena more than before, and I think that they stand to benefit as young people in this constituency. So for me, I think that yes, they will benefit because of experience I've acquired on the job as a CEO of the National Youth Authority, and also the other demographics in this constituency, the aged, the farmers, the fisher folks, the artisans, the middle class, everybody. The market this morning, we'll be going to the Galilee market, and every time I pass by the Galilee market, is like the people, the issues we discuss are the pertinent issues so dear to their heart. As I speak to you, I've been in the market for a whole week. We're talking of the CAP business loan. The beginning, it starts from assisting them to get their TIN numbers. I've assisted over 500 market women to get their TIN numbers, get them registered. I've dedicated staff to be able to assist them, because all these things are done electronically. Somebody have dedicated staff for the market women to assist them get their TIN numbers, take them through the process. Application for these CAP business loans that the president has announced through MBSSI. These are things that I'm doing for the market women. I don't have the money to give them. The government has put up a policy. To assess it, you need to go through a process. Through the process, somebody needs to assist them. And that's what my office is doing. And I think that they've been happy with me. Many other places. I went to the riverside, to the beach side, to the farmers. I mean, a lot of interventions that our government has laid out, and I have to advocate for them to get their fair share of the national cake. So these are things that I've been doing, and I think that has been pretty good.
If you foremostly look at the things that are needed, which sectorial areas do you think that if elected, you can lobby to make sure that those developmental issues are well addressed?
Well, I think in this constituency, first and foremost, infrastructure, that is a road network in this constituency, need to be addressed.
And you mean within the communities?
Yes, within the communities. And I mean, it's one of the things that will engage my attention. But before I become a member of parliament, as I speak, major roads in this constituency are under construction. So I'll be very happy and a fortunate MP to have Nana Addo as a president, where major road networks in this constituency are under construction. Many more are yet to be tackled, and I think that will engage my attention the more. Apart from that, youth development, holistic youth development will also engage my attention. I've met a lot of artisans, and I will encourage skills training, skills development. Already, I put up a policy to train 500 youth a year in any vocation of their choice within the community. That I will support them and give them startups. These are things that I'm talking to the youth about. We talk of sports development on earth and sport talent. We are currently building a multi-purpose AstroTurf here. By November, the president will be commissioning it for an unearthing talent in our community. I've also put together a policy that every local community has a football team, one or two. Those managing these local teams don't have any expertise in terms of experience. So I've liaised with the National Sports College to put these people through a certificate coaching course to get them trained so that they will be able to offer professional training to these young ones in the communities. These are things that I'm doing that I think that in the long term it will help on air talent, sporting talent. Apart from that, skills training is one of the things that I have to engage the young people, and I've been engaging them. But so many young people are looking for jobs, white-collar jobs, that they are not in existence. You finish SHS, University Polytechnic, you are looking for a job. You may stay home at 4, 5, 2 years waiting for the job. What can you do whilst you are waiting for the job? The president has rolled out a NAPCO program. 100,000, about 2,000 of our young people here are on the program. After 3 years, what happens? A little more of them had graduated after the NAPCO program. They are still home. What can we do with the skills? We should have hands-on skills that will be useful to society for people to earn a living. The mindset education is what I'm also bringing, doing a lot of youth conferences in this constituency to conscientize them about the challenges of our time and then even the future. The opportunities of SHS that has come to us, what it means is that we should do something more than the formal education that we are acquiring as a nation or as a constituency. And education will be my priority in this constituency. Health development is key. Also, for me, I've made a solemn pledge that by the time I finish or I enter my second term, hopefully, I'll have at least 10 local indigenous people going into the medical schools in this community.
All from the community?
All from the community. We have a lot of health posts, polyclinics, and the rest in this community. Most of our people manning the facilities are not. So these young ones of 10 will be a morale booster to many more of the local people to also aspire to study and go higher as far as education is concerned. So for me, I think that Roland is a holistic approach, and that is what I've been preaching. I'm not doing anything different. I keep telling the people that this is what the MP's job is, and I'm not here promising you heavens, but I'll be a good advocate. The challenges of our community, I need to put it at the doorstep of government, lobby when necessary, advocate when necessary for the holistic development of our community. Sanitation, the municipal assembly has done a yeoman's job, and I commend them for that. Security issues, I've been engaging the assembly. A lot of the street lights are off. I've had a program with the municipal assembly and the Ministry of Energy to assist us to light up the place so that we'll keep down a robbery in the society. And then I'll be working with the police service to help promote a community watchdog to assist the communities to come up with community watchdogs so that the young men will assist the police to be able to provide security in our neighborhood so that the community will be a safe place for all of us to live. And I have a very wonderful working relationship with the municipal chief executive, of which he understands me. There is a good telepathy amongst the two of us, and I believe that the community stands to benefit.
Look, there's a considerable times in which we're in because of the troubles or the difficulties we're having with coronavirus. That also will mean that many more people have their incomes either shortened or maybe unemployment is becoming a big issue. As you go around the homes, the communities, you get to have some of these stories. Have you been able to do the interaction? What stories have you gotten from the communities? How are you encouraging your people?
Well, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, wherever you go, I mean, obviously the dependency rate will increase because of the effect of COVID-19. But we need to give hope. We need to inspire confidence amongst our people. Yes, I cannot do it all. I tell them the numbers in this constituency, and one person cannot do it all. There are extreme vulnerable people in the society. That one, there's nothing than putting your hands in your pocket and assist them in your small way. Of course, the young ones, yes, you motivate them, you help them, you encourage them to employ tactics, innovation, creativity out of the box to be able. I keep telling the young ones that the internet, we spend so much time on our internet, browsing, surfing, talking to friends. We can use the same internet to market wear and make a little money out of the internet. So these are things I'm telling young ones. Those that cannot do anything at all, that they are extremely vulnerable, you assist them. You call on people, friends, that relatives, to be able to support you, to support these vulnerable ones in our society. And of course, we'll continue doing that. But we cannot take all the challenge of dependency in this constituency, but we'll continue to encourage them. There are young ones in there, you tell them, you're expecting to have a job here, or your job, you've lost your job. Take up another opportunity, an alternative, experience something new, and make a living out of it. So these are things that we are pushing to them. And I believe that some are catching up with what we are telling them. And I believe that, yes, COVID-19 has its own consequences, but it's an eye-opener, it's an opportunity. There's an opportunity in there that people can cash in. That's what we should be looking at. Look at the opportunity that comes with COVID-19, making masks and other things necessary for the fight against COVID-19. Innovation, creativity is what we are looking for. If you used to sell at the restaurant and people come there to buy, now they cannot come to the restaurant in their numbers. Devise different means, strategy, creativity, and innovation to be able to sell to your clientele.
Now, I do know that when you are elected as a member of parliament, there seems to be this excessive pressure. So are you giving the right sort of messages that I'm only a development agent, not necessarily the one going to execute the development?
Well, of course, everywhere I've been, I try to make it clear to them. And one of the things I'm promising my people, and it's a promise, there will be constant and continuous engagement.
You'll do that?
I'll do that.
You'll be the first MP to do that?
I will not be the first MP. There are a number of MPs who engage a lot.
Okay.
Meet them.
I see.
It is better to meet them and explain than to shine away and wait for 4 years to go back to them. That is the complaints. Yesterday, I went to a community. They made huge demands on me. And I woke up and I did a simple calculation. And they said, oh, we are sorry. I said, look, I can't do that. My salary as a member of parliament, about 6 months is what you are demanding for just one community. And that's one of the many requests they put before me, a simple arithmetic. And they were shocked. I said, yes. So I can't do it. So what I can do is to lobby for project for the entire community. Government does roads, water extension, electricity extension. These are things that central government, and I have to take your concerns to the right quarters to get them fixed for you. But you don't expect all this expenditure from me. Where am I going to get the money? I tell them, and I'm telling them now. If you had followed my campaign, these are things I'm telling them. The road network, I say, look, I will not fix the road by myself, but I'll take your concerns to the right place, at the Ministry of Roads, to government for intervention. And we've started. We are in government. I've made significant intervention in some of these areas, and it's ongoing. Those who know, they are appreciative of that effort.
Now, we do know that we have to at least come towards the end of this conversation, but you can't put out all your strategies. So indeed, you can't even put out your strategies. But we just have a few months to the elections. Right. What really is a concentration? Where are the focus areas, so that you know that this is what you've mapped out and this is what your goals ultimately would be?
Well, Roland, I have the numbers as registered in recent registration exercise. I know the communities very well. I have my own strategy. I'm confident that what we put out there in the next 3 months, we'll be confident to say we can win about 70% of the popular vote here.
Mm. Yeah. The other, just adjoining you is Ewutu Senior East. We know that there were skirmishes during the registration period, but how are you also complementing efforts to make sure that the peace is maintained?
Well, of course, we kept talking about peace, and I'm not sure my sister Hawa is violent. She's not violent at all. I mean, what happened there is quite unfortunate. People blew that out of proportion, and I think many people didn't even understand what happened.
You think we including the media, also blew it out of proportion?
Of course, I think there are a lot of sensation attached to that particular story, but on hindsight, many more people I've spoken to after have realized that it blew the matter out of proportion. But I think there's been significant calm in that constituency. She's been a pillar of that constituency. She's really been helpful to the constituency and all. She's a border, that central region and in Greater Accra. We talk a lot, and we've tried to maintain peace in both constituencies, and we've had significant engagement to ensure that there is peace and stability. That is the only way we can develop our community. If I tell you the kind of investment she's made in that constituency in her 2 terms as a member of parliament, it will amaze you to think that the same person would destroy all the gains she's made in that constituency. Never. And she's been a pillar for that constituency, and she's going to win. Significantly, she's going to win landslide, just as I'll be winning here.
Well, and as you know, we are your election headquarters. We'll bring you all the update. But it is also because this Saturday we're having the governing New Patriotic Party launching the party manifesto. But it is a broader conversation that we want to bring you. We want to bring you all the previews, do great analysis, and when it comes to all that, the best team that you can trust is the team that is right here, JoyNews and the rest of the multimedia group. And we'll be speaking to Evans Mensah. Evans Mensah is the head of the political desk for JoyNews, and they have been supervising all this to make sure that the content that will be delivered, who is to be spoken to, is the right choice. Now, Evans, what do we have? Because we have the track record, but already we have this already planned. What's it going to look like?
So on Saturday, the NPP is launching their manifesto, and it's they're doing it in Cape Coast. Now, our coverage, it's not just going to be a coverage of the event itself, where you hear the speeches. That is the easy stuff. That is what you expect every, I guess, media organization to do. But we are going a step further. We are adding value to it. So what we're going to do is 3 things. The first thing we'll do is there is a reason why the NPP has chosen the central region for the manifesto launch. We are going to get into that. We're going to get into that with some real detailed analysis why central region is going to be very important to the NPP in particular. We know Central Region to be one of the swing regions, right? But this year, it's going to play an even more crucial role in determining who wins elections. And we're going to look into that with some real great analysis, looking at the numbers, what the story tell us, and why the NPP would have chosen Cape Coast to launch it. So that is going to be something to watch. And the team is already doing a great work in the central region already on this. And then there's going to be a second part of this. The second part of the coverage will focus on scrutinizing and analyzing the NPP's 2016 manifesto. Remember that they came into government on the back of the 2016 manifesto. Now, they've had 4 years to implement that manifesto, right? So the key question then becomes, now that as they're about to launch a new one, how have they fared with the 2016 manifesto? And we're expecting our friends and partners from Imani to join us with some great analysis and presentation on that. Then, of course, we'll go live for the event, which, of course, again, we are adding some real value to it. A great team is going to Central Region already on the back of this. Now, I'm going to leave the last bit after the manifesto is launched. That is going to be the surprise that I'm not going to reveal now, because you have to just tune in on Saturday and just discover and learn what we plan to do after the manifesto is launched. After we get to know the highlights, you will be blown away by what we have planned post the launch.
But we also do know that the reporters will be on ground, but the deployment is also going to be as it is, but differently this time because we're in 2020, aren't we?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we are in 2020. A lot of things are going to be different. First time in our history, in any elections, that we are going to have 16 regions, not 10, 16. So that in itself is an unknown factor. How that will play. I mean, before this year, you had to win 4 regions. If you won Western, Central, Greater Accra, and you won Bono, you won elections, right? However, this year the dynamics have changed, so it's going to be very interesting to watch. And so it cannot be business as usual, not for the politicians, and certainly not for the election headquarters.
Yeah, definitely. But look, this event is also coming just some few days after we had that town hall meeting, and also Dr. Mahama Baumia, the vice president, trying to espouse the achievement of the MPP in infrastructure solely. It looks like it just coincides with the time, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, and from what our sources tell us, the original plan was to do the town hall after the manifesto launch, but I understand that the leadership thought, no, let's do it before. And so this was all planned by the party to sort of give you a taste of what to come. Because remember, for a party in government, you cannot just launch a manifesto. You have to first account for what you've done with the first manifesto. I mean, it's so basic. And so those who planned the town hall might have thought that let's isolate the infrastructure and let's render account to the people ahead of the manifesto. But it begs the question. The country, this great country of ours, is not only one that is dependent on infrastructure solely, engaging its development. And so it begs the question, what will happen on Saturday?
Okay.
Will they spend time to account to us also for the other sectors of the economy before they launch the 2021? I mean, we wait to see.
Well, thank you very much. Evans Mensah, the head of the political desk right here at JoyNews. But it's what we're promising you. Great discussions, great previews right here. But it is because we are your election headquarters.